They also made us sing in training camp.
Oh, really?
Get in
What
front
did you
of
sing?
Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. Y'all can hear my voice. I'm not the best singer.
I'm Adam Brenneman.
This is
Next up. Wild. Next up. Jaycee, man, appreciate you coming out. Appreciate you finding some time in busy Super Bowl week to come talk to us, man.
Sure, for sure. I'm excited to be here, man.
So you said it's the first time in Scottsdale?
Yeah, first time.
Yeah, a little colder than you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a little warmer as I got up this morning.
You need a sweatshirt, man.
Yeah, I didn't bring many sweatshirts, but I'm loving it so far.
No, it's a great place. What's Super Bowl week like for an NFL player? I think a lot of times fans don't realize, like, it's an intense week for you because you're probably doing events and appearances like this. So what's it like for you?
Yeah, it's pretty much a work week, doing a lot of different marketing stuff, doing a lot of different stuff like this, podcasts, meeting new people. So it can get kind of tiresome, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah, no, the podcasts are fun, right? That's
yeah,
the best
definitely.
Man, I want to start with, you faced some adversity early in your NFL career. Your first round pick, 8th overall, you get hurt year one, and then you come back in year two, and you have one of the best seasons of a DB all year. Pro Bowl snub, as I'm sure you've heard a lot, right?
Yeah.
Just take me through what it was like to kind of bounce back from the adversity like that and have the kind of season that you had.
It was just, all about trying to just have mental toughness. It was a process, like you said, going top 10, then breaking your foot, third game is not ideal, and getting the news you're going to be out for the season. So it was frustrating, but just taking it day by day, trying to do everything right when it came to rehab, trying to still get around the guys and be in the meetings and still get that team family feel even though you out. But, it was tough, but I was excited to get back out there this year and, show my skills and show, the type player I am. And I still got a lot more work to do, so just ready for next season.
Do you have a favorite moment of this past season? I mean, you made a bunch of big plays, a couple interceptions. What was your favorite play?
I would probably say Seattle, interception in Seattle. It was a big game for me. Obviously going against DK, one of the best, receivers in the league. Making that play in Seattle in that atmosphere, all the 12s going crazy. It was a fun experience. So definitely that game.
Let's go all the way back to your recruiting process and how you end up picking South Carolina. I think you were down to Tennessee and South Carolina. Were those your final two? I mean, you had offers from everyone in the country. Take me through that decision, how you picked USC.
Yeah, I was committed to Tennessee first with, Coach Jones when he was there, him and his staff. And they had let go of Coach Jones. And while I was committed to Tennessee, South Carolina just kept recruiting me every day. The coach was calling. And we just had a good relationship. So I felt like when they let go of Coach Jones and I decommitted, it was only right that I go to South Carolina. Alabama, I kind of liked Alabama too, so it kind of came down to those two. But obviously I went to South Carolina, and it turned out great for me.
Give me your best recruiting story, or like the craziest thing a coach said to you in recruiting, because I've heard some funny ones. I mean, I got recruited. I've heard, and I ask every big time recruit this question, and there's always some funny stories I get, man.
I don't really have anything crazy, but the craziest experience is probably just sitting in front of Nick Saban, bro.
Wild.
Yeah,
I did it too. It was nuts. What did he say to you? What was his pitch?
I don't even know, because I was so in shock. All I heard was him offer me the scholarship, but everything else he was saying was just like blur. Just sitting in front of him and being at a university like that, it was just a humbling experience.
Were you in his office?
Yeah.
So if it's the same way, now I'm way older than you. If it's the same way, it's a dark office, right? Mahogany wood everywhere. Like it's intimidating when you walk in there.
Yeah, it definitely set the mood, and it is kind of intimidating.
Let's talk about this past season. You guys start off really slow, almost make the playoffs at the end. Mm-hmm. Take me through kind of the ups and downs of the past season, the turmoil and the coaching, the coaching situation. What was it like going through that?
I mean, it was crazy, and it kind of just, me being new to the NFL, it kind of showed me how long the actual season is, because we started out slow. They let go of our coach. In my opinion, we had the best running back in the league. They traded C-Mac, and we had a new interim coach come in. So it was like, I feel like everybody kind of gave up on us, and it was like the Panthers just rebuilding. We found a way to come together and put together some wins under Coach Wilkes, and we was fighting for the playoffs, towards the end of the season. Unfortunately, we came up a game short, against the Bucks, but it kind of just showed me that you just got to keep going through the season, because it's so long. They could turn around at any point.
Yeah.
Because, every team has good athletes. It's the NFL. So it's all about just finding that right gel and putting it all together at the right time, trying to make a run for it.
How much longer did the NFL season feel than a college season? Like it's 2 times as long, right?
It's way longer. It's way longer. It's kind of, you just hit a point where you just cruising. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at what week we in, who we playing, just let me get to the next Sunday.
Yeah. Did you have to change any way in like how you took care of your body based on how long the season is?
Yeah, definitely. Just that was my main thing, especially being hurt my rookie year. I feel like I can do better with treating my body outside the facility, just kind of trying to change things so I don't get hurt. But yeah, definitely being more of a pro and being in the facility earlier, staying a little later just to get that extra body work, just to try to make it through those 17 games, because that's a tough thing to do. Injuries happen, but staying healthy for 17 games,
It's a long time, bro.
Yeah, it's hard to do, so you definitely got to stay up on it.
Yeah. Let's go back to this past season with the changes you guys went through. Coach Wilkes comes in as the interim, and you guys play really well. You turn it around, almost make the playoffs. What are your thoughts on how that process went down? Of Coach Wilkes, do you feel like he was overlooked at all, or kind of what are your thoughts on the way that situation was handled?
Oh man, I don't really know. It's only so much as a player that you know.
Yeah.
So I don't really too much get into that. I do know Coach Wilkes was a great coach. Probably one of the best leaders of men that I just been around, period. The way he got us motivated, like I said earlier, starting off bad, losing our best running back, like the mood in the locker room was down. Like we were like, what we gonna do? How we gonna win games?
Yeah.
And Coach Wilkes, he turned it around. He gave us that confidence to go out there and play our best football, and we did that. And like I said, we came up short, but it was just an honor playing with him and being able to experience him for the short time he was in Carolina.
You think he deserves a head coaching job?
For sure. Like I said, he's one of the best leaders, period, that I've been around. You're not gonna sugarcoat anything.
Yeah.
You're gonna demand the best from the best players. Like he'll call the best players out and tell you, hey, you're one of the best players, so play like it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the type of relationship the guys have with him, he wants the best for you. So nobody really gets in their feelings or anything about it.
Let's put your GM hat on right now. You guys have a top 10 pick in this coming draft. What position do you think they should go with? What kind of direction do you think the front office should go?
Man, I see everybody saying quarterback
Yeah.
is what we're supposed to be doing, but like I said, man, that's above my pay grade. I'm just out there to lock guys down and play cornerback.
I love it, man. But it's funny. Like, how much do you actually pay attention to that stuff? Like, do you pay attention to the media, the Twitter stuff? Are you a guy that like reads a lot of stuff, or are you like off Twitter during the season, or how do you stay focused when everyone's talking about everything all the time?
I feel like for most guys it's tough, but for me, I don't really pay much attention to it. I see the stuff, but at the end of the day, I go back to the man in the arena little quote. I'm focused on football. I'm focused on showing my teammates, the best player I can be. Proving to my coaches the best player I can be. I'm not really too much caught up on social media and what the fans think. And I feel like that's the way you got to be, because it's the NFL. It's so up and down. You can have a great week one week and a bad week the next week, and you can't get up and get too much caught up in what people think or saying about you.
So I know I called you a Pro Bowl snub earlier, but my team sent me some stats here from this season. You allowed the fewest receptions in the league, 23 receptions, fewest yards, 216, lowest passer rating in the league against you, 39.4. You did not allow a touchdown all season. Incredible stats.
Yeah.
So, were you a Pro Bowl snub?
It's tough to say just because it's just like you read off those stats, man. There's so many good corners in the NFC. Like, I'm a fan of football, so just watching guys like Darius Slay, Trevon Diggs, Jalen Ramsey, either one of us could get in, and I didn't play the whole season. I missed 4 games. I had broken ribs. I broke my wrist, so I understand. Hopefully next year I can get in there, and a lot of the players told me once you make your first one, it's kind of like cruise sailing from there. So hopefully next year I can get in there, and compete with those guys.
Is it surreal at all to hear those stats, like how good of a season you actually had? Yeah,
man. The whole experience being in the NFL is surreal. Sometimes I just catch myself like I'm living out the dream. So, I'm just happy to be here.
Give me your top 5 DBs in the NFL right now.
I'm gonna exclude myself.
Yeah, exclude yourself. We call some controversy with that.
I'll say I'll go off this season because it's hard to just say a top 5. But top 5 this season, I'll probably put Patton Sauce at 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Surtain and Sauce. Either way you want to do it. I think Darius Slay probably at 3. You know, he's one of those older guys who year in and year out, you know what you're going to get from him. So,
Consistent.
yeah, I'm a big fan of his game. Probably his guy that plays on the other side, James Bradbury.
Yeah.
He had a solid year. No, I forgot one. I'd probably go Tyreek Willen at 4.
Okay.
He had a big season. At 5, I would probably go Trevon Diggs. You know, I feel like not a lot of people talking about him this year, but he was locked down this year. You know, I feel like everybody talked about how many yards he gave up
He
last
gets a lot
year.
of flack for how many touchdowns he gives up.
Yeah, but this year I feel like he played pretty good, didn't give up much, followed other teams' number 1 guys.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of tape, so you could see the change from his game last year to this year.
Yeah.
And how much more like technical sound he is. So I'd probably put him at the 5 spot. That'll probably be my top 5 this year.
Are you a talker when you're playing press coverage? Are you? I mean, I know how DBs are, man.
Yeah.
I know, are you talking a lot out there?
It depends, man. It depends who we playing. You know, if the other guys are talking, which you know sometimes it get like that. If they start talking, then I'm gonna go all day. Yeah, I'm not gonna stop.
Which receiver is the best shit talker that you went against?
I ain't gonna lie. In the league, I haven't. Cortland Sutton was the only one.
Okay.
Who kind of? Yeah, we had a back and forth.
That's right. Yeah.
We got into it on the sideline and stuff. But that was a fun matchup. But outside of that, I didn't really play against anybody who talk trash.
That's funny. Do you prefer being in press? Do you prefer playing off a little bit? Like, what's your favorite favorite way to cover a receiver?
Definitely press. You know, I feel like
You got those long arms, right? You want to
yeah, that's to my advantage.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a bigger guy, so I don't really like playing off too much. If I can get up there and press, I'm definitely gonna play press man.
I love it. How do you approach a matchup when you're covering a number 1 receiver? Take me through kind of your like preparation, and then like how you approach it in game when you're covering a top guy.
During the week, I just watch a lot of the offense. Just games, just straight through. Maybe 3 or 4 games back to back. First I try to just get a feel with how the OC want to use them.
Yeah.
Are they trying to give them quick outs and stuff early on and get them involved? Like, what are they doing to try to get him the ball? What are they doing on this down and distance? What routes I'm gonna get from this formation? Like all that stuff comes from me just watching 3 or 4 games in a row. You just naturally pick up on it, and then later as we progress through the week, I kind of dial in just on the receiver, watch the releases, what kind of releases they got, what's their go-tos. When they run a slant, are they giving me dime release? Are they getting straight into it? Then from there, I kind of watch it all the way up to Saturday night. And by Sunday, man, when you watch so much of it,
Hazing the barn, right?
yeah, it's slow down. It's like he made one move off the line, you're like, oh, I done seen this before. Like, I know where he's going. Or they might come out in the set, like for example, Seattle game, that interception. When they came out in that set, and it was 1st and 10, he came off the ball. I had seen a tendency, like when he put his head down, he's stopping.
Wow.
So we was in cover 3, and he came off the ball real hard with his head down. I'm like, oh, I stopped my feet. I'm like, oh, he's stopping. And he ran it out. And I was kind of on it real quick. So just little things like that. The more you watch, you pick up on little tells that, make it way easier for you on Sunday. Did
you learn a lot of that when you got to the league? Or did you, where did you learn how to study film? I think a lot of young players, like, they try to watch film, but there's a way you got to study it. You can't just sit there and watch a whole game because you ain't going to learn anything. Where did you learn how to study like that?
Kind of in college. I always been a fan of football, just watching games. But in college, when we got there and they told me we had every game going back to like 2008 on our iPads, like
of every team ever,
NFL game, college game, any game. So I just kind of fell in love with just going back and watching, old tape like Darrelle Revis, old guys, and when we start getting into the season and I was able to like tell the coach, oh, I need a cut up of this receiver and press.
Yeah.
And they can make you a specific cut up to where you're just clicking through watching exactly what you want to watch. I kind of just fell in love with watching tape. And as I got to the league, obviously it's a different game than college as far as like schematically wise. So I had to learn different ways to watch it. And my coach, Evan Cooper, he did a good job of, teaching me that. And that's kind of the method I use as I watch tape today.
That's awesome. I think that's another part that fans don't realize, like how much goes into that preparation of studying the receivers and all that kind of stuff. We talked about the coaching turmoil a little bit, but you have a new head coach, Coach Reich. What's been your first impression of him? What have those interactions been like?
I actually haven't had a chance to meet him yet. I talked to him over the phone, but, he seems like a real cool guy. Real calculated on, his plan. And just talking to other guys, that play with him, like Stephon Gilmore, Kenny Moore, they had nothing but great things to say about him, as a coach. So, I'm excited to get to work with him.
It's funny, you haven't met him yet. Is that because you guys have just been traveling a bunch?
Yeah. I'm not in a facility like that. They've been busy, trying to build a staff. So we haven't ran into each other yet, but I'm sure we will, sooner or later.
For sure. When the coaching process is going and they're hiring a new head coach, how much does the kind of front office inform you guys of what's going on? Do you find out on Twitter who they hire like everyone else does?
Yeah, throughout the process, they don't. I mean, me personally, they weren't telling me who they were looking at.
You weren't in the interviews or anything?
Nah, yeah. As a player, I mean, like I said, that's above our pay grade. So we don't really have much say into that. But, they did reach out once they were sure who they were hiring. The GM had called me and let me know and stuff like that. But, yeah. That's
sweet. So you got a new defensive coordinator too, Coach Evero. So, I mean, he was great in Denver, has developed a ton of great defenses. What have been your thoughts on him, interactions with him?
I haven't met him either. So, knowing his pedigree, he got a chance to coach the Rams secondary with Jalen Ramsey. He was there last year in Denver with Pat. I'm just excited to work with him and just pick up from him, whatever he knows, because he's a DB guy. But, yeah, man, I'm excited. It's a new staff. I feel like it's going to be a new sense of fresh air in the building, and I'm just ready to get to OTAs and get to work.
Is it exciting to have a defense coordinator who's a DB guy? Like, do you like that when someone – because it's a whole different perspective when you view a defense from a DB-first mentality.
Yeah, definitely. And we had a guy like that in college, Travar's coach T-Rob. He was a DB coach, but he was our D coordinator, so I'm kind of used to that. So I'm happy to have, Coach coming in and kind of playing both of those roles.
Let's talk about your draft experience a little bit. Another cool thing that you went through, being a top 10 pick and all the hype that surrounded that. Talk me through draft night. What were you doing? What were your nerves like? Did you have any sense of where you were going to go? Like, what was that experience like?
Obviously, throughout the process, as I'm sure you know, a couple of teams will tell you if you're there, we're going to get you.
Here.
Yeah, so you have an idea kind of where you're going to go. So I was kind of thinking 8 to 15 range. But I talked to Coach Rule. He had called me the night before. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had an idea maybe Carolina might come and get me. My main worry was where am I going to be living? I didn't know if I was going to get drafted to Detroit, or Denver, these cold places. I'm man, I just hope I'm somewhere close to Atlanta, close to home, and it's not cold.
Yeah,
so
what a great fit, man. That's awesome.
Carolina is an hour away from my college, 3 hours away from my hometown, so it's a perfect fit. It's definitely the perfect spot for me.
Did you have a meeting with Carolina in the draft process that you just crushed it and you left them, or maybe it was a pre-draft visit where you left and you were like, I think they love me?
I actually thought they didn't like me, bro, because some of the teams, they get on there and try to, grill you. They show all your bad plays just to see, how you going to react to it.
Yeah.
And they might say, ask you a crazy question or something, and you man, what's up? Do y'all like me? So I didn't even think, Carolina, they was just kind of hard on me, kind of stern. So I wasn't really a fan of the meeting. I was that didn't go too good.
Yeah.
But the night before the drive, Coach Rule, I talked to Coach Rule and kind of had an idea they was going to grab me. So I was just excited when I got the call.
Do you have any really tough questions you were asked during the draft process? And I'm sure you were getting a ton when you're a potential top 10 pick.
Yeah. It's not tough, but it's weird questions. I can't remember what team they asked me. They were showing my tape. And they was are you a front runner? We just making sure you're not a front runner. I'm we didn't do much winning in college, man. It was a lot of games. We was getting blown out, and I was still out there, trying to play hard and, get through the game. So it was just weird questions that kind of just take you back. And you kind of make the interview kind of awkward. But, it's all a part of the experience.
They trying to get a feel for your personality a little bit?
Yeah.
Personality type questions?
Yeah, try to see how you would take hard coaching, when it come down to it. So I understand it. When you investing into somebody, you want that much money, you want to know any and every little thing. So I understand. You
were the first defensive player picked in that draft, I believe, all the way at 8.
Yeah.
I mean, that had to be surreal, too. I mean, you're the first defensive player off the board. Did that hit you in the moment that you just went 8th overall and all that comes with it, that you were the first defensive player picked? You just got an enormous signing bonus. Your life has changed forever. What was that? What was it like in that moment?
Man, I really wasn't even thinking about all that, bro. I was really just
happy to go to Carolina.
Happy to be in the NFL. I felt like a little kid. I couldn't believe it was actually happening. And it didn't really hit me draft night because it was all happening so fast and there was so many people around. But when I flew out to Carolina the next day and I got a chance to like walk on the field, man, I just broke down like out of nowhere because it's just a lifelong dream, you know, as a kid,
man.
just wanting to play in the NFL, playing the big leagues and seeing your locker, seeing your jersey, having my dad and my family in there. It was just, you know, a surreal moment and probably the best moment of my life.
Yeah. When you got to Carolina then, there's a ton of expectation when you're a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
You know, like how much did you feel that pressure when you got there? I mean, obviously, like there's a ton of hype. You're doing these ceremonies, and you know everyone's talking about you. And that's a big. You know, they could have gone a lot of different directions with that number 8 pick. And they choose you. What was that feeling, that pressure like when you got to Carolina right away? And when you go to practice first day, everyone wants to see what the top 10 pick is doing at practice day one.
Yeah.
Did you notice that at all, or feel that pressure a little bit?
Yeah, I felt it, but for me, I kind of like those things, like my back against
Everyone's
the wall,
watching you.
everybody watching, like that make me, you know, kind of raise my level.
Yeah.
My dad played in the league for, 12 years, 12, 13 years. And so I kind of grew up with it, like going to the little league football games in the park. And they're like, oh, that's Joe Horn's son. Like, and it's kind of like everybody watching, the kids gunning after you. So I kind of grew up, loving that. And my dad just always told me that, pressure is self-induced.
Yeah.
You determine, how much pressure it is on you and stuff like that. So I just try to go in with a clear mindset and just play football because that's all it is at the end of the day.
You just mentioned your dad. I want to talk about him a little bit. NFL legend. Everyone knows Joe Horn, the receiver. What was it like growing up with him and like being around such a high-performing athlete at a young age and seeing him go through his NFL career? And do you feel like that prepared you to be in the NFL?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like a cheat code. That's how I explain it. Just because I kind of knew what to expect going into the draft process. I knew what to expect going into the locker room because, my dad did it. So as a kid, he was giving me all these gems and stuff like that sometimes I didn't understand it, but getting to the league, it kind of like clicked.
Yeah.
Like the stuff the coaches and the training staff telling me. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, my dad
was saying that.
He been saying that forever. So it kind of just, made it easier for me and we call it a blueprint. I'm kind of trying to just follow the blueprint and try to have a career, close to as good as his.
Your dad's famous for pulling out the cell phone and doing the celebration. How old were you when he did that?
I was probably like 6,
you
5 or 6 years old. Yeah, I do. My mom didn't let us go to the game. So that's kind of the story behind it. My mom didn't let us go to the game because Sunday night we got school the next morning, so we don't get back home till late if we go. So she didn't let us go. And then he had told us when he was leaving the house, he was like, I'm going to call y'all. And we like, what? Like, what you mean? And we was watching the game. And I think he had like 3 or 4 touchdowns that game. And he had pulled out the flip phone, and I guess that was kind of his way.
That's hilarious.
Of like showing us that he was calling us, so we was in the house excited and stuff like that. So it was definitely a good moment.
That's amazing. I'm not sure all the young kids watching right now know that you guys got to Google the Joe Horn touchdown celebration. They're shaking their head. He pulled out a cell phone. It's a great video, classic. Do you have any celebration plan for your first NFL touchdown?
Nah,
give it away, man. I'm gonna use this clip when you have that touchdown. I'm gonna use it on social media.
I really don't got one, man. I'm trying to think of something, but it's kind of hard to follow up behind my dad pulling out a flip phone. You know what they say, receivers are more the divas and stuff like that. So I ain't really.
Yeah, is that true though? I don't know if that's true, man. I think DBs are kind of the divas too, man.
Receivers got us beat, man. Y'all got us beat. Y'all got DBs beat.
I love it. So I mentioned the signing bonus. What'd you do with your first $1 million you made? Like, is there any big purchase? I mean, your signing bonus, public record was like $13 million or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that changed your life right away. What was your first big purchase, man?
First big purchase, I got my mom's house in Atlanta. Yeah, that was my first big purchase. And then, me personally, I got G-Wagon.
Okay. Blacked out?
Blacked out, red brake pads, red interior.
You got the chain there too?
Yeah, chain, yeah. But yeah, man, I ain't really go too crazy. That was my first and probably my only big purchase. My mom's house, cars. That was it.
What was it like buying your mom a house? Was it a surprise, or you brought her along for it? Like that had to be a cool moment.
Yeah, that's probably up there with draft day.
Yeah.
Just getting her a house, just making sure she's comfortable. Her not working or doing anything. That was the biggest thing for me. I was proud to do that.
Did you have I call it like the welcome to the NFL moment, where as good as you are and as high as you were picked and as talented as you've been in the NFL, everyone kind of has that moment where you're like, first practice you get beat, or like first really tough day where you're like, oh, this is a whole different level. Did you have a moment like that?
Yeah, man. Actually, C-Mac, just seeing him practice and work and move, I try to tell people, like, he's hands down the best in the league because I've seen it, like, every day, how he prepares and stuff like that. That was kind of my welcome to the NFL moment. And actually, the first day of camp, bro, first padded day, he had came. It was like a nub side run to the tight end, stretched to C-Mac, and I'm on the backside. And it was me and him in the hole, and he had, like, jumped in the air and froze me. And, like, hit me with a move, and my body went one way, and I tried to tag him off. If we was really tackling, I wouldn't have made the play. But I had tagged him off, and he just kept running, like, 80 yards to the crib. I'm like, Coach, I got him. He like, everybody on the field like, nah, you wouldn't have made that play. So that was kind of my welcome to the NFL moment, just seeing him work every day and how fast and explosive he is, man. He a different animal.
What was rookie initiation like for you? Did you have to do a rookie dinner or anything where you spend a ton of money on dinner?
Yeah, we had to do that, the rookie dinner.
How much did they get you for it?
I want to say the bill was like, it wasn't bad compared to what other guys had to pay. I think it was like $11,000.
Yeah,
12,000.
Not bad. No,
it's bad, but some guys, man, they got to pay 25, 30,000.
Yeah, I've seen some big ones on there, man.
Oh my, like,
especially when you're a top 10 pick, they normally run that thing.
Yeah,
up.
they let me off easy, man. Like, so they also made us sing in training camp.
Oh really?
Get in front
What'd
of
you
them.
sing?
Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. Like, y'all can hear my voice. I'm not the best singer. Like, so that was
I know
scary.
you were nervous for that, right?
Man, super nervous. But I told my Dante Jackson, kind of my OG, you able to get off the stage when they started clapping for you. So whenever they feel like you did enough, they'll clap. So I told Dante when I was going up there, I'm like, bro, get me out of here early. So by the time I got to the verge, he just stood up and started clapping. I'm like, thank God. But yeah, those are our rookie initiations.
Do we have a video of that anywhere?
No, we don't. I wish we did. I wish I could see it, but no, we don't have no videos of it.
That's funny. You mentioned like the speed and Christian McCaffrey. What was another kind of big difference between college and the NFL game? Was it maybe like the size of the receivers? What was the biggest thing that you had to adjust to?
Well, the game is faster, but it's actually slower. Like on Sundays, just with TV timeouts.
Oh, it takes longer.
Yeah, between plays, like, in college, it's usually teams running tempo offense. Yeah. So you look into the sideline and get your plays and just lining up and playing. But in the league, you got to go to the huddle, get the play. And it's so much like it's just way like more chill in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, you're on the sideline chopping it up about. We could be talking about something that don't even got to do with football, just because the game is so slow and we got TV timeouts every drive and stuff like that. So that was kind of the main difference to me. It allowed you to just play more comfortable and more relaxed.
Is practice a lot easier in the NFL?
Yeah, definitely. Especially coming from the SEC, Coach Muschamp.
He had you guys hitting?
Yeah, we used to practice hard. But in the league, it's definitely different because just like I said, playing 17 games, you're not able to practice full tilt, every week and still make it to Sunday. Yeah. So once you get to that back half of the season, that main goal is just make it to the next Sunday.
It's walkthroughs all week.
Yeah, it's walkthroughs. Like one day as a corner, you got to get
reps.
1 or 2 days where you do a lot of press work or have like a work day. For the most part, it's walkthrough, man. You try and make it to Sundays.
Give me your top 3 receivers in the NFL.
That's another tough one, man, just because I feel
I'm
like...
putting you on the spot, I know.
Yeah, it's so many good receivers. Like, I'll give it to you, but not in the order. Because I really don't have an order.
You've been media trained.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, I really don't have a number one. Because you could say Tyreek Hill, number one. You can't argue with that. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams. You can go with all those guys at number one, and can't be mad at it. So I'll probably go Devontae Adams at 1, Tyreek at 2, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase at 3.
It's a good list.
Interchangeable, whatever. Because, man, all those guys are different, especially in today's game where they scheming them open, moving them around. Them guys getting like 12, 13 targets a game. Mm-hmm. So as a corner, it make it tough on you, man. It's really going out there trying to contain those guys just because they get so many targets and they moving around. So, yeah, that was probably my top 3.
Have you seen the complexity of offenses change from college NFL? Have you just, like, the way they use motion and use formations and shifts and things like that.
Definitely. Just because, in college it's so much more like pass happy.
Yeah.
Like quarterback just airing it out. But in the league, they do a good job in the run game of trying to get the ball to the corners. So basically just making the corner tackle, making you replace. So you have to worry about stopping Tyreek Hill, who's a 4-2 guy who's in front of you, but also not being late in the run game, because if you late, it's a hard tackle.
Yeah.
And you miss that tackle, it's out the gate. And the coaches, they own you pretty hard about crack replacing and stuff like that. So I feel like in the NFL, that's what makes it so hard, just not knowing the element, if it's going to be run or pass, what you're going to get. And the receiver moving around, you got to play different positions if you follow. I think that's what made the NFL game like a little more complex, a little harder.
The one thing I've seen on film too from watching some of your stuff is a lot of offensive coordinators will use motion to get off coverage on you. They don't want you to be able to press.
Definitely.
So they'll motion guys in and out to not allow you to get hands on the receiver at the line of scrimmage. Have you noticed that? And how do you combat that?
You got to get your off coverage together. That was kind of my main focus coming into the league. Like, I knew I had to work on my off coverage just because in college we played press man and half turn. We was in the half turn most of the time. So just playing in a square pedal and working on that part of my game, I know I had to develop that because, like you said, teams not going to let you just get up there and press. Yeah. Like, they know you 6'2", 200, and you got a small guy like Tyreek or, just slimmer guys. They going to move them around, get them into the slot, get them into reductions, to where it make it harder on you to stop them. So, offensive coordinators do a good job of that, and that's what makes it so tough.
You are big as hell. When I met you out there, I thought you were about to be a little smaller than that.
Yeah,
you look like a tight end.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Big, dude.
Yeah.
Big. I wouldn't want to go against you, man. You got those long arms too. How much do you follow South Carolina and like what Coach Beamer is doing and rebuilding that program?
I follow it a lot. My girlfriend still goes to South Carolina and play basketball, so I keep up with all the South Carolina sports, and it's exciting to see Coach Beamer just change it around. Last year seeing us beat Tennessee, who was a top 10 team, and then come back the next week and beat Clemson, who I wasn't able to beat while I was there. I felt like I had won the game. I was in my house jumping around. So I'm a big fan of those guys. Spencer Rattler.
Stud,
that's my dark horse this year to win the Heisman.
I like it.
I think.
Bold prediction. I love it.
Yeah, he heated up at the end of the season, turned that offense around. So I think Coach Beamer got us going in the right direction. We're getting good recruits in. So I'm excited to see it next year.
Have you gotten to meet Coach Beamer or spend a lot of time with him?
Yeah, I met him a couple times. I ain't had a chance to make it back to a game yet just because it's so tough with our schedule to make it back, but I'm definitely going to catch one next year.
Your girlfriend who plays basketball at South Carolina won a national championship last season. Mm-hmm. What was that? Was it cool? Did you get to go to the game? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah, man, I followed the whole experience going to the SEC tournament. Watching them fall short in that when they was like the favorite to win it, and then going to Minnesota for the Final Four and stuff like that, man. I never got a chance to win a championship.
Yeah. She's got something you don't have.
Like in high school or college, I never won one. So just seeing, all the work they put in and then watching it pay off in a big win, watching the confetti fall, man, it was a great experience. And like you said, she won up on me. So
does she hold that over your head at all?
Yeah. So it's my last NFL, my last shot of getting the ring. So I'm trying to get into that Super Bowl bad, man.
You got to get it, man. Let's talk about your rookie year quickly. About when you had your injury. How tough was that to overcome? And what was the rehab process like with that in the NFL? Is it 3 times a day? Is it what's it like when you're coming back from that? Again, especially as a top 10 pick that gets hurt in the first year.
Yeah. The process was tough just because, like you said, being a top 10 pick, getting hurt,
to play.
all the pressure, and then you got Twitter, all the fans. Like, oh man,
why we pick him?
Why we pick him? We should have drafted a quarterback. We should have did this. But it's kind of like just having focus, man. Just taking it one day at a time. That's all I could do. But the toughest part was, as a football player, football is your escape from everything else. And I didn't have that escape once I got hurt. It was kind of like all I could do was sit up in the room with my foot up and just wait for my foot to heal. So that was the hardest part. And as far as the rehab process, like how much we in there, it depends on the injury. Early on, when I first broke my foot, after surgery, you just got to wait it out. It's just ice, like stem. You can't really do any active rehab. And my foot injury was kind of like bad. Like I broke 3 bones in one foot. Jeez. Like they had never seen nothing like it. And all I did was take a step. Like I didn't make no explosive movement or anything. So it was a bad injury. So after surgery, I was pretty much just icing, stemming. But as we were able to, progress to the rehab, like getting on the field, doing a bunch of band work with my foot, obviously I was in there more just trying to speed up the process.
You hurt your foot on a turf field, I believe, right?
Yep, in Houston.
Do you have any thoughts about turf versus grass? And there's a lot of talk right now about making all NFL teams have grass fields because of injuries. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that if it was grass, you would have hurt your foot?
I mean, no, I don't, because it was such a simple injury. Like I just stepped, and I don't know, maybe my foot got caught in the turf or whatever. But nobody is a fan of the turf. We had a game in versus Detroit at our house. It was the coldest game in our team history. And just walking the turf before the game, it was like concrete.
Yeah.
So nobody nobody wanted to play on it.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. It's proven that guys get injured more frequently on turf.
Yeah.
I would think you would want to protect the players and have us at our best every Sunday. So I understand that it's more the maintenance to grass and keep up with it and stuff like that. So I understand that side
It's
of
the
it.
NFL, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like making billions of dollars.
Yeah,
like we
figure it out.
can't at least just give us grass to keep us healthy. Yeah. So it's kind of confusing to me, but like I go back to it's above my pay grade. My job is to just go out there and play.
We gotta make you a GM, dude.
Yeah, man. So it is what it is. Can't make excuses. Everybody got to play on it, but I definitely hope they go to all grass fields and just protect the players.
Yeah.
Because that's what bring the money to the game.
And the other part is falling on that hurts bad. You get the turf burn. It hurts your body, even from like a non-injury standpoint. Just like the soreness is worse.
Yeah, like you can play a full game on turf, come out with no injuries, and the next day you feel like you've been in a car wreck. Like it's just because it's your ankle sore, stuff like that. Just because you're on the turf.
Yeah. And
you can feel the difference. We practice on grass, so in camp it's none of that. But when you play on turf that next day, you will be sore.
Looking back on your college career at South Carolina, even your high school career, your 2 seasons in the NFL, what would you say was your tipping point where you kind of realized that you could be a really special player, or you overcame some adversity and got to the next step?
I would say in high school, just having my dad there, I wouldn't say I knew that I would go to the league, but it was kind of like it was supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's expected.
Yeah, like I didn't really put too much thought into it, and I think that was the key to helping me make it to the league. But I kind of knew once I got to college, and by the 3rd day of camp, I was starting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, this ain't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. Like, yeah, like I kind of came into college like, yeah, I'm locked in. I know I'm probably gonna have to work to start, but after the 3rd day of camp, I was starting. So that kind of put it in my head that like, okay, you can go do it. Like you can be 3 and out. You can go first round. It kind of gave me that confidence. But it was definitely some adversity going through college. Like my last year, they didn't even have me ranked as a top 50 DB in college, just because I didn't have as much ball production and stuff like that. So it was definitely some adversity there, but kind of just not overthinking it and just going out there and playing ball. I think that's the main thing to getting through this whole thing. Just playing ball. Don't put too much on what people on social media are saying or expectations. Just go play ball.
What are your goals for this offseason? What are you trying to get better at? Everything.
Just my main thing right now is just taking care of my body, because I haven't made it through a full 17 games through 2 seasons. This year, I was relatively, healthy, but I broke my wrist the second to last game. And that last 3-game stretch was like playoff games for us. Like you said, we needed those wins. So my main thing this offseason is just my diet, trying to do all the right things to get through 17 games, because I feel like if I would have did that, maybe I would have made the Pro Bowl or whatever.
Take us through the offseason for an NFL player. Like right now, you're at the Super Bowl, then you got to go back for OTAs at some point. What's the offseason like? Where are you training at? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it's different for every guy, but for the most part, like I'm picking it back up to working out and stuff like that after this week, after Super Bowl week, because that's officially the end of the season. So I'm gonna just slowly progress, weight room, then get on the field, and when we get back to OTAs, we kind of start back just lifting, and then it's like phases. So phase 1 is just lifting. Phase 2, you on the field but no ball, no helmet. It's just position drills. Then phase 3, you practicing. And then we go back home before training camp for like 6-7 weeks. And that's kind of when guys like go hard, like training hard, because you're getting ready for that grind of training camp. Going into that, it's just once OTA start, you're rolling. You're rolling. Like your off season is pretty much from the end of the season if you don't make the playoffs to like now. So I'm starting back next week, getting back on the grind.
You taking any vacations? You going anywhere?
Yeah, you guys take vacations, you know.
Where you going?
Me and my girl trying to go out the country. We ain't picked a destination yet. I'm kind of nervous. It's gonna be my first time going out the country.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
You get that passport.
Yeah. My mom trying to get me set up, but I'm kind of nervous, but it should be fun.
A couple more questions, and we'll take some questions from the crowd. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I would probably say from my dad, kind of just keeping your cup, half full. Just don't ever think you made it or got it figured out. Yeah. Because you can learn from everybody. Like, and that's just not in football, that's in life. Like, you can learn from the janitor. He can give you a life tip. Like, so kind of just never thinking you bigger than everybody, staying humble, just being down to earth. That's kind of, the way I try to live my life. Just try to still be a normal guy, even though it's hard to be normal when you're an NFL athlete. But I never want anybody to walk away just saying like, oh, that guy think he's all that, or he thinks he knows it all, or he cocky or stuck up. So I try to just show love to everybody and just show that I'm the same as you. Like, we can chop it up and talk about normal stuff too. So that's kind of, the best advice I receive.
What's something that you do every day without fail?
Play the game.
What do we play? Madden?
Madden.
Yeah.
I'm a big
You
Madden.
tough on Madden?
Yeah, I play a lot of Madden, 2K, Fortnite. I play a lot of games. I love Fortnite. So those games I play every day. And if I travel, I bring it with me everywhere I go to the PlayStation. So I'm a big gamer. I don't really do too much. I'm a homebody. I don't do too much outside of that.
I heard that you were pretty good at basketball in high school, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Give me a breakdown of your game a little bit. Are you still play at all?
I try to, but my agent and stuff.
Oh, he don't want you to play, right? He's shaking his head. No.
But I play. I grew up playing a lot of basketball. It's kind of basketball and football. When I got to like 10th grade, I realized, man, you got to be like 6'4", 6'5", just to.
You're small in basketball.
Yeah, like I'm short in basketball, so that in football I'm tall. I kind of just made that switch. Like, I'm gonna let it go, man. I'm sticking to football. But I still like to play for fun and stuff like that.
Were you a shooter? Were you a defensive guy? Like, what was your game like in high school?
Yeah, so in high school I wasn't this big. Like my sophomore year, I was probably like 5'8".
Oh, you were tiny.
Yeah, I was probably like 5'8", 160, something like that. So I was a shooter.
Would you grow in one off season? You just got huge.
I came back my junior year at like 5'10", 5'11".
You walked into school, people were like, "What happened to him?"
Yeah, exactly. So but I was a shooter, man. I was a small guy. I could pass, real good passer. But man, once I grew, I lost my shot. So now my game in the total, obviously, I'm defense and just driving, dunking the ball. Like that's kind of my game now.
Yeah. What drives you to be successful? What's your why?
Just my love for the game of football. Like I feel like I owe it to the game. And just go back to, I heard Jalen Ramsey say this, like, God blessed us with so much talent. Like, I want to maximize that. Like, get the most I can out of that, because there's a lot of guys that would die to be in this position, but may not have the athletic ability, or may not have had the same circumstances I had growing up and wasn't able to make it. So just for that, I want to maximize this opportunity. And, I always said in high school, my goal was to be the best to ever play the position. So I just want to work towards that. Even if it don't happen, I want to just know I put my all into it and gave my all to the game.
When your NFL career is all said and done, and people talk about Jaycee Horn, what do you want them to say? What do you want them to remember?
Just a stand-up guy, a solid guy, a fan of everybody, was a humble guy. Just like I just mentioned, just down to earth, and was a cool guy to be around and talk to. And also a guy that was, about his business, put in the work in the film room, put in the work at practice. And, just a guy that my teammates and my coaches can depend on. Like, every Sunday, we know Jaycee going to show up and put his best foot forward. That's kind of my mindset when it comes to, like, when my career ends, it's all said and done. That's the kind of guy I want to be. And also just working back and impacting the younger players, because as a young high school player, I was a guy that was reaching out to all the top athletes. Like,
getting advice.
Man, what do you do? Like, motivate me. Like that was kind of my thing. So anytime a high school guy or a college guy DM me, like, hey bro, I watch your tape. I look up to you. I try to like respond to that and give them some gems, and maybe we form a relationship like that. So that's kind of the guy I want to be.
Yeah, and the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and the greatest of all time.
Last thing, if there's a young high school athlete watching this wants to play college football, what's the advice you're giving them?
Keep the main thing. I feel like in today's world, it's so hard to do that.
Yeah.
Just because of social media, man. Like everybody want to be different. Everybody want to be that guy, but it really ain't about that. You know, it's about keep it about football, bro. Like keep it about being the best football player you can be.
Yeah.
If you do that, all the other stuff will come with it. You know, everything that you want, it'll come with it if you just keep football the main thing. Like, and I think a lot of young guys like struggle with that. Like they worried about all the other stuff. And it's hard, especially in college when they paying guys now.
Yeah.
See guys on campus with AMG Mercedes and stuff like that. So it's hard to say that and do it. We didn't do that when I was in college, but that would be my main advice to the young generation, man. Just focus on football, focus on your craft, and all the stuff, extracurricular stuff that you want, it'll come with it.
You would have made some money in NIL if they had it when you were playing, huh?
Man, especially
those South Carolina fans, man.
They
SEC.
got a great fan base, man. I hate that I can't go back.
Oh, I think about it all the time, man. It kills me. But appreciate your time, man. This was awesome. Thanks for finding time during the Super Bowl week to talk to us.